Next up on the broadcast, Senate President Pro Tem Greg Reed of Jasper is back in the studio with us. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Don.
Nice to see you as always.
Man, it's always a privilege to be with you.
I want to continue our conversation for a moment on the surging coronavirus in Alabama and across the nation. The numbers are not looking good. They're going the wrong way, and I know this is disappointing in a lot of different respects. How do you feel about where we are and where we might need to go, in your opinion here?
Well, certainly the virus issue has been a serious topic that we've all lived through now for months, even going on years. That's been a reality in Alabama and across America. What you said in regards to the numbers going in the wrong direction, certainly we do not want to see that, and that's been a real challenge. We felt like things were moving in a positive direction, and they were. Now we have an issue with the variant that is now prevalent in Alabama and across the country. That's a real challenge. The thing that I would say related to the issue is if you go back and look at what President Trump did with warp speed, we had enormous accomplishments in America related to the pharmaceutical industry, the military, how they brought that vaccine to the forefront as the solution for America and being able to help us get past the virus. And there was great work done there, and we've seen very positive feedback as a result. I would encourage everyone to look at the results of what we've seen from the vaccine, recognize all the work that went into that, and then talk with their medical professionals about exactly what they need to do and how they need to move forward in regards to the vaccine. I think it's a topic that we must take seriously. We can't just think, oh, well, maybe this is not an issue that affects me. No, it affects everybody. And we're all a community here in our state, and the fact of being serious about this issue continues to be a requirement for us. So my encouragement would be for people to talk to their medical professionals about the options that are available to them in being able to protect themselves from the coronavirus.
There's been a lot of discussion that maybe our ranking near the bottom in the country for our vaccination rate is a combination of things, including hesitancy or reservations about the vaccine itself, and some contend misinformation. Is that how you read it?
Well, I think it may well be all the above. I mean, if you have an issue of topic of any significance that's discussed in the public realm, as you well know, there's going to be misinformation. There's going to be people that say things that maybe aren't true. You're going to have issues to where some take it more seriously than others. That's all just a part of the way we interact with each other in our communities. The bottom line is it's a very important issue. It has now seen a resurgence. We need to be very serious about it, and people need to take advantage of what's available to them in regards to talking to their medical professional on what's right for them in regards to the vaccine. You've got multiple different vaccine options that are available. I think that you had some younger people maybe that were not as serious about it because we recognized early on that it was much more detrimental to those that were older in the population than it was the younger. I think that in a lot of ways that shifted now to where the data that I hear from the Department of Public Health is there are a lot of younger people that are suffering from the virus. And so I think that younger people are going to be interested in investigating maybe with a little more focus on exactly what options are available to them in being able to protect themselves from the virus.
As the leader of the Senate, I'm sure you're keeping a close eye on this for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is that lawmakers will probably be coming back for a special session this fall on reapportionment and maybe another one on prisons. So I guess this has to figure into your planning, right?
Well, I think it would figure into the planning. I think we did a very good job in the last legislative session to manage it as best we could. We were able to move through the process very effectively with the protocols that we had in place, which in some regards were very important in protecting folks. But we were able to navigate through that without having serious issue of contagious spread of the virus during the legislative session. Many of those options that we had before now are off the table to where we're no longer wearing masks, we're no longer having any mandates, those kinds of things. I think as we look at upcoming legislative sessions, I think we're going to see that the community is going to reflect kind of the attitude of the legislature and the protocols that we may take. If we had a special session and we're looking at things today, do I think that they would be exactly the same protocols as what we had back in the midst of the coronavirus wave 1 or 2? I don't think so. But I think that the leadership of the Senate and the House, the legislature, will be very focused on doing the right thing, not too much, not too little, making sure that if we need to do things that are different to keep people safe, then we want to be cognizant of that. At the same time, people need the freedom and the liberty to be able to do their jobs within the State House. And so we'll see as things continue to move forward. I think to the point we made earlier, one of the things that's very important for us to think about at this point is as we see a surge in cases, we need to be cognizant of the fact that everybody needs to take it serious, that there are good solutions that are available. What does your medical provider want you to do?
Let's touch on prisons very briefly, which could be the subject of a special legislative session. You've been involved in the negotiations between the House, the Senate, and the governor's office on a prison construction plan. How's it going?
We've had quite a few meetings. I've been very encouraged by the collaborative efforts, both House and Senate. You know, the governor of Alabama took this issue, of which is a very important topic. We are suffering from lawsuits at the federal level that we must address. There are issues that are not going to go away until we deal with them. We don't want the federal government to be in a position of where they say you've not done anything, you've not accomplished anything, and as a result we're going to come in and have mandates related to your prison system that you don't want. So that's what we're trying to steer clear of. The governor had a good plan. She worked on several elements of it. It was not able to move forward. And so now, as the House, the Senate, and the governor working together, coming up with thoughts and ideas and plans. I think that in that process, you've had new information that's been provided. I think the governor's process provided quite a bit of new information. You've had legislative leaders and members of both the House and Senate working in teams to analyze that data and then look to move to formulating plans that are going to address a lot of the issues that the federal courts say are ours to deal with. And so I'm pleased with that process. Now, are we finished? No. Do we have more information to analyze and there's going to be more detail? Absolutely. But I'm pleased with the process moving forward. Men and women in the legislature working with the governor really as equal partners in trying to move this forward, I think is exactly what we need, and that's what's happening.
Senator, we're almost out of time, but I want to touch on economic development and innovation legislation that you got passed this year. The governor was signing some of those bills in ceremonial events this week, and there was also an innovation commission in which you're heavily involved meeting this week. Tell us about the bills that the governor ceremonially signed.
Well,
this week.
The governor, through executive order, created the Alabama Innovation Commission, and I was the co-chair. Bill Poole, my friend who's the representative from Tuscaloosa, now going to be the finance director of the state of Alabama, is the chair of this commission. We had super members from all across the state that had all kinds of knowledge in areas of innovation. And they came together, we worked hard, we put together some points that were highlights in the legislative session that we felt like were important to pass. One of them was the Innovation Corporation that allows this program to continue. The other was some grant programs for new startup businesses. The whole focus of the commission was how can we find ways to encourage entrepreneurs, high-tech startup businesses to locate in Alabama? How do we reserve and maintain talent that is so important to these high-tech businesses that are many times in our state or being educated in our state? How do we work on the branding of Alabama to some of these high-tech companies? We've just seen in the last week or so, you've had some huge companies like Landings that has moved its headquarters from California as a high-tech company to Birmingham. And so that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. The Innovation Commission is working to try and find ways to promote, recruit, those kinds of businesses in our state, and the feedback has been tremendous. So I've really enjoyed serving on that, learned a lot in the process.
Senate President Pro Tem Greg Reed of Jasper. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks
My
for your
privilege.
leadership.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Capital Journal. We'll be right back.